How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to do an elite individual profile on Bruno Fernandes. The elite center attacking midfielder from Portugal is now turning 27 today, as he is also the center attacking midfielder for Manchester United, one of the Premier League favorites coming into this year, now that his countryman Cristiano Ronaldo is returning back to the team that made him a star. But just to take a quick glance at the type of player Bruno Fernandes is, he is a 5'10" kind of slithery attacking mid. He can dribble incredibly well, and of course his dribbling leads him to draw fouls in the box, from which he is or was Manchester United's penalty kick artist. I imagine they're going to make I imagine Ronaldo's going to take the penalty kicks after this. But of course, Bruno Fernandes has been very instrumental with Manchester United being as good as they were last year. He was very instrumental in Portugal winning the Nations League in 2019, and he was very instrumental with Sporting CP as he helped them try to be one of the best teams in all of Portugal. But first, before that, he would go on to get his start. He was promoted to Novara, which was an Italian Serie B team, in his age 17 season. In 2012-13, he would go on to start 15 of the 21 games he played. He had 4 goals and an assist. He would eventually get promoted to Serie A when he would go on to play his 2013-14 season with Udinese. And Udinese, in his age 18 season, in his first season, he would start 17 of the 24 games he played. Udinese would finish the season 13th in Serie A in his very first season at the top level on one of the top 5 leagues, or top 6 if you include Portugal. He would go on to finish with 4 goals and 5 assists in his age 18 season, just to kind of show off his knack for assisting, because I do think assisting and passing is probably his best strength, even though he has a lot of great strengths. Following his first season at Udinese, he will come back for his second year there. In 2014-15, he will go on to start 16 of the 31 matches he played, as Udinese finished with the 16th best record in the entire league, just to finish off the season. In that season itself, he would finish with 3 goals and a couple of assists, especially within the Serie A, because they weren't placing incredibly high. They were only playing in just the league itself and the Italian Coppa. But looking at how he fared, especially in those seasons, he had a goal in Coppa Italia for the very first time in his second season with Udinese. But of course, they wouldn't make it far. His third season in Serie A would be with Udinese, and in his age 20 season, he was play his 2015-16 season there. He started 24 of the 31 matches he played. He finished with 3 goals and 4 assists. Adding in what he was able to do with Coppa Italia, he would play 2 goals there. Following that season, he would represent Portugal in the Olympics. In the 3 games that Portugal played, he would finish with 2 assists there. So he would kind of make somewhat of a name for himself within the nation. Following that season, Bruno Fernandes would end up playing his 2016-2017 season with Sampdoria, his age 21 season. In that season, he would go on to start 22 of the 33 games that he would play in a season where Sampdoria finished with the 10th best record in the Serie A. For the first time in Serie A, he would finish with 5 goals on the season, add in a couple of assists. They didn't qualify for Champions League necessarily, but he would also finish with an assist in Coppa Italia. Following that season, in 2017, he would eventually following that season, he would make the move to Sporting CP. And in addition to making the move to Sporting CP, playing for one of the top clubs in Portugal, in November, he would eventually get named to the Portuguese national team. In his age 22 season with Sporting CP, his first season there, he would start 32 of the 33 games he'd play in a season where Sporting CP would finish with the 3rd best record in the Portuguese league. They would finish runners-up as in the Taça de Portugal, which was the knockout competition, and then the Taça da Liga. They would actually end up winning that trophy. That would be the very first trophy Bruno Fernandes put up in his trophy case following just that year. That was the League Cup. Additionally, within the season itself, he would finish with 11 goals and 8 assists. That would be the first time he ever put up double-digit goals in a season in his age 22 season. And also, 8 assists is definitely the most assists he put up, at least by that time in his career. And of course, like I said, by then he was named to be a member of the Portuguese national team. At the conclusion of the season, once Sporting CP would qualify for Champions League for the following season. Also, looking at what they did this season, he finished with 3 goals and 3 assists in Europa League as in knockout stages for Champions League. He would finish, or in the group stage, he finished with a goal and a couple of assists. But regardless, following the 2007-2018 season, his very first season with Sporting CP, he would get promoted he was on the Portuguese national team, but he would get to represent them for the World Cup. He would only end up playing 2 of the World Cup games that they played, as Portugal would end up getting knocked out of the round of 16 by Uruguay. That's the only World Cup that he has participated in to date. And following that World Cup, he will come back to Sporting CP for what will be his second season there. In his second season there, or in his most recent season in which he's played the full year, he will go on to start all 33 games in a season where Sporting CP finished with the 3rd best record in Portugal again. But that season, he would go on to win the Portuguese League Cup for the 2nd year in a row, and they won the Portuguese Cup itself. He would finish with 20 goals and 13 assists within the Primeira Liga season itself. That's the only season in which he's put up 20 goals in a domestic league thus far to date. He also had 13 assists is also the most assists he's ever put together in a full season to date, or at least within one season. So, of course, he made a name within himself. With the 33 combined goals and assists, he would go on to be the highest scoring midfielder in Portuguese history. And following this, this would lead into the 2019 Nations League tournament, where they would end up beating Italy and Poland out of their group. Once they made it to the semifinal, they would beat Switzerland off of Cristiano Ronaldo's hat trick. And then in the final, they would end up beating the Netherlands 1-0 in order to take that trophy. So, of course, that would end Bruno Fernandes very instrumental in Portugal winning that Nations League. So that was another trophy added to the trophy case for Bruno Fernandes. And following the 2019 offseason, he will go on to play the first half of the 2019-20 season with Sporting CP. In this 17 games that he played, he finished with 8 goals and 7 assists. That's 15 scoring plays in 17 games. But following that season with Sporting CP, he would go on to switch, or he would go on to make the transfer to Manchester United to finish off the second half of the season. In the second half of the 2019 season, which many people will remember was heavily impacted by the coronavirus, he would go on to finish with 8 goals and 7 assists in 14 games with Manchester United. So he had 8 goals at both Sporting CP and Manchester United. He had 7 assists at both Sporting CP and Manchester United. That is a combined 16 goals and 14 assists, 30 combined scoring plays in 31 domestic games in the 2019-2020 season. Not to mention that in Europa League, he would have a total of 8 goals and 4 assists, the most goals he scored in Europa League to date. So, of course, this will go down as a very nice season for Bruno Fernandes. And following this season, at the conclusion of the season, Manchester United would end up finishing 3rd in the Premier League at the very conclusion of the season. But following this, Bruno Fernandes would end up coming back from Manchester United, or I guess or he would come back for the 2020-2021 season, which was his age 25 season, the most recent season that completed, with the one with the shortened off season. He would start 35 of the 37 matches he played in his very first Premier League season, as he helped Man U finish as runners-up in the Premier League, right behind Man City within the city. Bruno Fernandes would finish as Man United's leading scorer for so far the only time in his career to date. He finished with 18 goals and 12 assists in the Premier League itself. He would go on to finish with 5 goals and 4 assists in Europa League. He had 4 goals and an assist in Champions League before Man U got knocked out of group stage. And following this most recent season, his age 25 season, he would end up representing Portugal in this most recent summer at the Euros. And looking at how Portugal fared at the Euros this season, they would actually end up placing third in their group, in the group with France and Germany. But in this matchup, they would end up beating Hungary in this matchup. They lost to Germany in the second matchup, and then they ended up drawing with France. Once they made it to the knockout stages, Portugal would end up losing 1-0 to Belgium in the round of 16. That was the last time that Bruno's been to the Euros. And following that offseason, that leads us into this current season with Man U. So far, he started all 3 of the games he's played this season, and so far he has 3 goals on the year, as he was able to score a hat-trick in the very first game of the season. But that actually leads us to where we are right now, as Bruno Fernandes is currently 27 years old. He is very possibly entering, or he already has entered, the prime of what already is an amazing career. He is already shown on multiple levels for various different teams and various levels of competition in many different ways that he is more than a valuable piece, a more than valuable component, and most definitely an elite center attacking midfielder if we're talking about the best soccer players in the world. Once again, with that said, I want to thank the Pro Football Reference, Transfermarkt and Footy Stats, Wikipedia for the pages, for giving me all the stats and figures that I needed in order to complete this episode beginning to end. Of course, thanks to ESPN and the FIFA websites. I also want to wish Bruno Fernandes a happy 27th birthday if you ever get a chance to watch him. He's wearing number 18 for Man United at the moment. They may change his number in the up and coming years, but right now that's his number. And I really can't wait to see what he does between this year and next. Once again, today is Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. I want to thank everyone for listening to all 12 minutes of this piece. I hope all is well. Once all of today's matchups and exhibitions are done, I will come back tomorrow on Thursday, September 9th, 2021. And hopefully by this time next year, we'll see if Bruno Fernandes wins a couple of trophies between now and then, breaks a scoring record. We'll see. But with that said, thanks for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with another episode tomorrow, and hopefully another Bruno Fernandes episode next year. I'm James Sims, and this is The Elite. Thanks for listening to my piece. Peace out.